How's it guys? Pieter here. So today I have quite an exciting video for you guys. I've been asked so many times if I provided some sort of advisory service, to help people with their investments, to help them budget and all of that. And I initially thought that this is not really something that I can do because firstly, I am a vet, I'm not a financial advisor. I have no qualification in terms of financial management or financial planning. So I'm technically not allowed to give any advice. But then on the other hand, I felt like I'm just creating this kind of artificial barrier where I'm kind of preventing myself from helping people because I do think I know a bit more than the average Joe. So what I decided was I'm going to start a new series on YouTube where basically I send a questionnaire to people which I have to fill in with regards to their income, expenses, their debt, their investment strategy and their investment goals. And then I'm going to take that information and then kind of give my recommendations of what I would have done in that specific situation. The reason why I'm doing this is firstly not to give financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, yada yada yada. These are just recommendations. It's for entertainment and educational purposes. The main reason why I'm doing this is I make a lot of videos where I give a lot of information and people really appreciate that. But I saw that people often struggle to apply what they've learned. So I think by doing a bunch of these exercises and you guys obviously watching this, how I go through all of the different aspects of personal finances and giving my recommendations and giving a couple of tips here and there, the more we do this, the better we can train our minds to evaluate our own portfolios. So if you're watching this, you can apply some of the principles that I mentioned here to your own portfolio. Because the thing that I really want to achieve with this YouTube channel is to empower people to take control of their own finances. Not to give it to someone else and pay them a bunch of money. If you want to do that, then that's fine. But at least just to empower you to know what is going on inside your own investment. And I think this is the best way to do this, to give you practical example, real life examples of other people's portfolios and then apply it. And the more that we do this, hopefully the better we can all help each other out. Okay, so what I did was I sent a questionnaire to one of the people who contacted me. Obviously with this series, the person whose finances I'm reviewing will stay anonymous throughout this whole video. I'm not going to name any names just for confidentiality sakes. But yeah, I basically sent the questionnaire, the person filled it in, sent it back, and that is what we're going to go through today. All right, so I hope that you enjoyed this and let's get started. Okay, so this person is a 26-year-old female self-employed tour operator from the Western Cape. She's not married, she does not have any children, she does not have a pension fund at work, so basically no employer's match. Alright, so looking at the income, she earns a base salary of 12,000 Rand per month plus commission, which she said averages around 20,000 Rand of gross income per month. And then if we take taxes into consideration, she'll fall within the 26% tax bracket, which means she will pay about 2,500 Rand taxes per month, leaving her with a net income of 17,500 Rand per month. Just a quick tip here, if you guys want to know how much taxes you pay or you want to calculate how much you will pay based on a specific salary, just go to the tax term website and use the income tax calculator and they will tell you exactly how much taxes you will pay. Alright, and then she doesn't have any other forms of income. So now let's look at her expenses. So she does not pay any money for rent, utilities or food because she is still staying with her parents. I think this is awesome. If by any chance you have the opportunity to still stay with your parents for as long as possible, then do it. You're going to save a lot of money on rent, food, utilities, and that will just give you a massive head start. Obviously, this is not possible for everyone, but if you have that option, then do it. There's no shame in that. Obviously, I don't think you should stay with your parents until you are like 45.
So much aerobics in here, so many activities.
But I mean, until like 26, 28, even 30, you will just save a lot of money, which will put you ahead in life. She does contribute towards the levies, taxes and household expenses, with levies and taxes being 1,800 and household expenses being 1,500 Rand. So she is contributing towards the household expenses, but she's saving a ton of money on rent, especially in the Western Cape. It's quite expensive there. Right, so on transport, she spends 1,200 Rand. That's great, especially with the rise in fuel prices. We need to try and keep our fuel expenses as low as possible. So I'm not sure exactly how she does this, but I would assume she works from home for most of the time. And if you can, use a bicycle or a scooter even to try and save on your car expenses. Then on takeout, she spends 1,750 Rand. This is about 10% of her income. To be honest, I think this is quite high for one person. I would try and cut down on this if possible. Understand if you are 26 years old, you want to go out with your friends and all of that, which is fine. It's part of life. It's to enjoy life. But if push comes to shove and you need to save money, then this is definitely a category that I'll cut back on. On alcohol and cigarettes, she also spends 480 Rand. Again, it's a bit much. I would probably cut down on this as well and then use that money for other investment goals. Then medical and healthcare, she doesn't spend any money because she is still covered by her parents, which again is great. If you have that opportunity and you are in that position, then that's awesome. But I thought I'll just give you guys some ideas of what I would recommend for somebody this age, because I'm also 26. So in terms of medical healthcare, I would say that at the very least, you need to have a hospital plan, even if it's just a basic plan with some gap cover. Reason being that if you get sick and you are in an accident or something and you end up in ICU is expensive, and a hospital plan will basically cover for hospitalization. It won't cover things like your glasses or medication that you get over the counter, but that's fine. You can use your emergency fund for that. A gap cover is basically, so say for example you go for surgery, then the surgeon can actually decide to charge more than 100%. So for example, say they charge 400%, then the gap cover will cover the gap between 100 and 400%. I know, I don't think it's fair either, but they can do this, and you just need to make sure that you are covered for that. If you later plan on getting children, then I would probably move towards more of a comprehensive medical insurance plan. But if you are 26 and you don't have any dependents, then a basic hospital plan with some gap cover should be fine. Then in terms of insurance, I would strongly recommend to have income protection, also known as sickness and permanent incapacity benefits. And because the reason for this is if you're still young, then your biggest asset is your ability to earn an income. So if something happens that prevents you from earning an income, you are at a massive loss. Say for example, you were in an accident, you lost your arm, or you got disabled or mentally disabled, something like that, then this income protection insurance will basically replace your income that you are currently earning. So it just ensures that you still receive an income even if you are not able to generate an income. This not only helps you, but it also helps your family, because then that takes off some of the financial pressure of them to be able to take care of you. So this is definitely something that I'd recommend. And of course, car insurance if you have one. If you're in a car accident, that can cripple you financially. So car insurance is also one that I'd recommend. Then something like life cover or life insurance will basically pay out when you die. This is important if you have loved ones or dependents, but if you are still a single 26-year-old, then you don't really need that, except if your parents are depending on you. And then something I just want to mention, the earlier you start with your life insurance and your medical care policies, the better. Because if you start later, they're gonna add a penalty towards your premium, and then it can get quite expensive. So even if you just start with the basic plans now, do it. I know insurance and medical healthcare, it's a grudge purchase, but when you need it, you will be really glad that you have it. Trust me. Okay, then moving on. She spends 500 Rand per month on clothing. I think that's fair. 350 Rand on personal care and hygiene, which I think is actually very good. I would assume that she also uses some of the stuff in the house. 350 Rand for personal entertainment. I think that is also very good. She can even increase that a bit because she's still young. She can enjoy life in Cape Town. Then on a cell phone, she spends 738 Rand. It's a 24-month contract. I think that's quite expensive, except if she's using that cell phone for business purposes, for making calls. She is a tour operator, so I would assume that she makes a bunch of calls. But if it's just for personal use, then that's quite expensive. I personally won't go above 500 Rand per month. You don't need the latest iPhone or the latest Samsung, but I guess that is a personal preference. On banking fees, she pays 219 Rand. That's good. And then she hasn't spent anything on things like personal development, technology, holidays, internet subscriptions, or childcare. So this brings her total monthly expenses to 8,937 Rand per month, which is a savings rate of 51%. I think this is excellent. Saving half of your income is really impressive, especially on the salary that she's earning. And again, what's counting in her favor is that she's living with her parents, which cuts a lot of the costs. That is money that will go into her investments that we'll get to in a moment. She does not have any debt. Okay, so now looking at the short-term investments, she has 20,000 Rand in an FNB cash savings account, earning 3.82%. This is fine. I think she's doing really well. She's building up an emergency fund, although 3.82% is quite low. If we look at the current inflation rate of 6.5%, she is effectively losing money. So what I would recommend is building up a 3-month emergency fund. So that's basically 3 months worth of living expenses. So based on her current living expenses, I would say to aim for about 30,000 Rand. I will keep half of the savings in this FNB cash account. That's just for the liquidity that you can use it whenever you need. And then I'll put the other half in the gold saving accounts of Time Bank, where you can earn up to 6% in interest after 90 days. And then moving on to the long-term investments, she has a tax-free savings account in an FNB tax-free cash deposit, about 36,000 Rand, earning 5.33%. Alright, so I hope that you all know that putting your tax-free savings account with the bank is not the best option, and I'm going to give you a reason why. The biggest benefit of tax-free savings account is that you save on taxes, right? So that's interest tax, capital gains tax, and dividend withholding tax. Now, if you put your money in cash or bonds, you earn interest and you are taxed on your interest. But all of us as South Africans get an annual interest exclusion of 23,800 Rand. Meaning that if you have money in the bank and you earn interest, that interest you are exempted from tax in any case, regardless if you have it in a tax-free savings account or a discretionary account, and that is up to the value of 23,800 Rand if you're under 65. So to put this into perspective, if you are invested in a money market account earning 6% in interest, which is quite high, you need to have more than 400,000 Rand invested before you start earning any tax benefit on that interest. So she's far away from that, and that's why a tax-free savings account does not make sense in a cash account. And in any case, she's earning 5.33%, which is below the inflation rate of 6.5%, so she's not even beating inflation and thus effectively losing money. So tax-free savings account is a long-term investment, and therefore the assets inside of it needs to be as aggressive as possible. That means that you need to focus on shares or property rather than cash or bonds. So what I would recommend is go open a tax-free savings account with Easy Equities. I have both a tutorial and a review that you can watch that will show you exactly what you need to know about the platform and how to create an account. It's about an hour, but you will know exactly where to go from there on it. And then I would just recommend to go and buy a well-diversified offshore ETF, such as the Core Shares Total World, which basically tracks the whole entire world's economy. And then I will try and max out the annual allowance of 36,000 Rand, which is about 3,000 Rand per month. And that's it. You just have to buy that one ETF and you should be fine. Right, then she also has some speculative investments, which is some crypto with Luno, which is worth about 7,500 Rand. Now, considering a total investment portfolio, meaning the crypto and a tax-free savings account, this means about 17% of her investment portfolio is invested in crypto. That is way too high. Crypto is very speculative and volatile, so usually the recommendation is to only allocate between 2 and 5% of your portfolio to crypto. So what I would recommend is just to leave that as it is. It did take a massive knock. I think she said it's about 60% down. That is what is currently happening. Crypto crashed. I won't sell that. I'll just leave it. But any extra money that I have, I will put towards my other investments. And I will just wait for this 17% to dilute back to 2 to 5% and then put more money into crypto. But for now, I will just leave it as it is. All right. So basically, just to sum all of this up and to give you guys a guideline of what I would recommend in this specific situation. First up is to fund the 3-month emergency fund, which means 30,000 Rand. So I would put 15,000 Rand in my FNB cash account and then 15,000 Rand spread across 10 different gold savings accounts with Time Bank. Second priority is to fill up tax-free savings account with 3,000 Rand per month and then buy the Core Shares Total World ETF with Easy Equities. Third, I would recommend to open a retirement annuity with either Signia or 10X and then just put in 500 Rand per month, which is the minimum amount for debit orders. I personally like the Signia Skeleton Balance 70 fund because it's very cheap and it's well diversified. And an RA is basically similar to a tax-free savings account. All of your growth inside of it is tax-free, but the great benefit about an RA is it also lowers your tax bracket. So that's why I would definitely recommend that she opens one and just starts putting 500 Rand minimum. Ideally, try and bump that up to 3,000 Rand a month as well to match the tax-free savings account allocation. And then whatever is left after that, so after 30,000 Rand emergency fund, 3,000 in a tax-free savings account and 3,000 into an RA, she can use the rest of the money to either buy ETFs in a Easy Equity ZAR account, ETFs in a US dollar account, or to play with crypto. It doesn't really matter. If she can invest 6,000 Rand at the age of 26, then she's already well on her way to a good retirement. But obviously try and still be sensible about it. I would still go for more diversified ETFs. And then later when you learn more about investments, you can start go for the riskier ones. But yeah, that's what I would do. And yeah, just to summarize, I think it's really awesome that she started showing an interest in her investments and her financial position at such a young age, because just showing an interest is already a step in the right direction. So I'm really glad that she is starting to get her finances in order. And the most important step is just to get started. She has a really impressive savings rate, and I agree with most of her expenses, but she can maybe cut down on the takeout and the cell phone expenses and put that towards her tax-free savings account or retirement annuity. I would say she needs to stay with her parents as long as possible to try and save money, but she also needs to try and find ways to make an extra income. Now, I will be sharing my experience of making money online on this YouTube channel in the next couple of months. So yeah, there's always money to be made online. It may be a bit more difficult than I initially thought, but I will share my experience and hopefully you guys will be able to get some ideas. And yeah, I would basically just recommend that she adjust her long-term investment strategy by taking the tax-free savings account and putting it into easy equities and buying the ETF, and then just learning about finances overall. And then later on, she can kind of adjust the portfolio as needed. I'm going to give a monthly update on my own portfolio every single month, and I hope to try and educate you guys on my whole thought process so that you can also see how I'm approaching investments, and that will also hopefully kind of help you to do the same. Alright, so yeah, let me know what you guys think of these types of videos. It was quite a lot of fun to review this and to see kind of what I would do. And if you want to be featured on one of these videos, then you can just check the link down in the description where you need to fill in a questionnaire, and then I will review your finances and make a video about it. And obviously you will stay anonymous, but it's my way of trying to help you guys. Sure, let me know what you think and if you want to see more of these types of videos. You must all have a lekker day. Cheers.